right, I'm going to go ahead and get started because I want to give Via as much time as possible for the demo, and I know we only have 30 minutes. I'm Erin with Marquee 360. I'm the marketing manager, and I'm going to just give us a quick overview to thank you guys for joining us for our Modern Project Management in Teams webinar. I want to let you know the session is being recorded, and we'll be sending that out to you guys following the webinar today. So sorry about that. To present mode. Awesome. Okay. So we are a Microsoft Gold partner for project and portfolio management and cloud productivity and collaboration. We have locations across the globe and customers across the globe, so our footprint's pretty large. We have a strong background with Microsoft and especially Project Online. A lot of our employees have been working with the solutions most of their careers. So when things are coming down the pipeline from Microsoft, we have a good in and know when things are happening to get our customers ready for those changes. We like to focus on customer success and being a trusted advisor for you guys from the start of implementation all the way through training, adoption, and then post-implementation support. We also have workshops, things like that. So we like to not just implement a solution and leave. We like to be there with you guys, make sure that everything's going well and that you're getting the most out of your investment. And quickly, I just want to talk about what we do on the Microsoft platform for digital transformation. So we take Microsoft 365 solutions and we just extend their functionality with our own pre-configured solutions, which gives you more out of the box, gets you up and running faster, and connects all the programs that you're using into one centralized place so you're not switching from solution to solution or interface to interface. We like to bring it all together in one place, and usually that's Microsoft Teams. So with that, and that's what we're here to talk about today. So I'm going to pass it over to Mia, our solution specialist, and she's going to take you guys talk about a little bit more about why we're here today and give you the technical demo.
Thank you, Erin. And I'm starting to share my screen. Will someone confirm if it's visible?
We can see, and also before we get started, I just want to let everyone know if you have any questions, please feel free to throw them in the chat. We'll try to get to as many as possible. I know we have a short amount of time, so if we don't get to them, we will definitely follow up with you after the webinar. Sorry, go ahead, Mia.
Thanks a lot, Erin. Hi, everybody. My name is Mia. I'm a solutions architect at Marquee 360. And today what we're going to do is we're going to look at Project Online, but more specifically, we're going to look at one of our pre-configured solutions that connects Project Online with Microsoft Teams and Planner. So you can see on my home screen now, this is the PWA homepage. This is our pre-configured solution, so it looks a little bit different than it would just looking at Project Online out of the box. And what we'll do is pretty simple. We'll walk through the steps of creating a project together, and then I'll show you how we sync that project with Microsoft Teams and Planner. And then we'll go over to Teams and Planner and start to look at the fun part. We'll look at how we would update our project as either the project manager or a member of that project team in Microsoft Teams. And then we'll also look at things like planner tasks and how we can update those tasks as well. And I have a couple of different ways to show you how to do that. So since we have a short amount of time, we'll go ahead and jump in. I'm going to turn off my camera and then start the demo. So on the PWA homepage, I'm going to start off in the Project Center. I have a filtered view already applied here, but what we'll do is we'll create a project together. So I'll just go to New and select one of our project types. One of the things I'd like to draw your attention to here is when it comes to the Microsoft Teams and Planner integration, we have a couple of options. Our first option comes as we're creating the project. So you can see here, there's a field named Microsoft Teams and Planner integration. It's a simple yes, no, but by selecting yes here, I'm indicating that I do want to create a team that will represent this channel. Okay, so that's where we're headed. We do other syncs with Azure DevOps and things like that. That's why these fields are here, but that's a topic for a different session. So as this project creates, it's going to start to create the corresponding team in Microsoft Teams. In addition to pulling together all of the project detail pages and the workflow and the fields that we'll need to manage its project. So what I'll do is I'll start to work through these different project pages. If there is anybody here that's not as familiar with Project Online, what we do with these pages, these are called project detail pages or PDPs, but we essentially work our way through these pages and fill in the fields. So there are different pages and each page may have a different amount of fields. Notice that there are different field types. Some are drop downs, right? Some are going to accept currency. And then notice also that some of these are going to be required. All right. So this is something that comes as part of the Project Online configuration. We do plenty of engagements where we gather requirements and then build this according to your specifications. For today, I'm going to go through just a couple of these pages and make sure that I've got all of my required fields filled in. And the next place that we'll go is over to the schedule. So remember that when we first created the project, I chose at the project level to sync this project with Microsoft Teams and Planner. The next thing that we'll do on the schedule is actually decide which tasks we want to sync with Microsoft Teams and Planner. So I'll show you how we would set this up. Notice that this project happens to have a schedule template. So if it didn't, I could go ahead and build out all of my tasks, and add in the duration and add the predecessors. But for today, since all of that's in the template, I'm just going to go ahead and make a couple of updates. The first update I'm going to make is for the resource names. To sync this project with Microsoft Teams and Planner, our pre-configured solution requires that we have a named resource assigned to these tasks. All right, so I'll go ahead and assign myself to a few of these tasks. The next thing that we include as part of this solution is an option as to whether we want to sync this particular task with Planner or not. So for these tasks here, I'll go ahead and select yes, that I do want to sync these over with Microsoft Teams and Planner. And then the last option I have here is the Planner bucket. So note here, when I click on the Planner bucket, we've got a couple of options. These options are all configurable. Again, whenever we do an implementation, we sit with you and gather requirements to find out which buckets are meaningful to you. When we go over to Teams in a minute, we'll get to see how these buckets actually look in Teams and Planner. But for now, what I'd like you to know is that these Planner buckets are sometimes workflow phases. Sometimes they're based on, different categories you have for the tasks in your schedule. Now that I have these tasks with a named resource assigned, and I've indicated that I want to sync them over with Planner, and I've identified a Planner bucket, the next thing I'll do is publish this project schedule. This publish is what we use in this solution to kick off the sync between Teams and Planner. Now, as a result of this publish, what is going to happen is that the solution will look to see which tasks should sync over to Teams and Planner, and it will start to create those tasks for me. Before we go over to Teams, and we should be there in about a minute or two, there is one last thing I wanted to show in the browser, and that's over on the project site. For anybody that's not as familiar with Project Online, each project, at least in this demo environment, is created along with a project site. And the project site is what we refer to as the story behind the schedule. It's where we capture, the issues, the risks, the project documents. And what I'll show you here is that in this demo environment, we have this set up so that we automatically have some listed here. That's mostly just so that you don't have to sit and watch me enter in 5 issues and 5 risks. But I wanted to show the issues and risks in particular because they are going to show up in Teams as well. That's also true for documents. So this demo site's set up so that it automatically has a couple of documents that are going to be included. But if I wanted to upload an additional document, I'll choose that quarterly financials document, the Excel doc. So I can go ahead and do this on the project site, but part of the exciting thing that I want to show today is that I can also make these same updates and access this uploaded file in Teams as well. All right, so what we'll do now is I'll go back up to the back over to the project detail pages, and I'll close this project and check it in. The next thing that we'll do is we'll head over to Microsoft Teams. So in Microsoft Teams, there are a couple things I want to show you. The first thing is that if you look here at the bottom, I now have a new team with the name of the project that we created together a few minutes ago. So now we have this team that represents this project here. The next thing I want to show, and I just clicked on it, but I did have an activity alert letting me know that I was added to this new team. Okay, those activity alerts are really nice because clicking on a section in that activity alert actually takes you to that section. So it's interactive. And then if we look at this, what I'd like to mostly focus on today are going to be the updates that are a result of our Project Online to Teams integration. So if you're familiar with Teams, you'll know that each time a team is created, a general channel is created along with it. And on each general channel, you're going to have these first three tabs, the Posts tab, the Files tab, and the Wiki tab. So the Posts tab is basically where people come to communicate with each other. If I need to start a conversation with the team and let everybody know that I'm uploading a new document, I can go ahead and do that, or we'll just say hi. The thing that we update here is going to be this section here. So we refer to this as a mini status report. And what this is meant to do is let everybody on the team know kind of where we are with this project, right? So as we, every time we publish the project, one of these mini status reports will get added here. And if you're using Power BI, we also include a link over to the Power BI status report here. But even without that, you can still see some high-level information, such as the start date, what our current finish date is, our health status if we filled that out, right? So all of that information is quick and easy to see here. The files and wiki tabs, we don't really make any updates to as a result of our integration, at least not with our out-of-the-box pre-configured solution. Sometimes there are updates we'll make to these tabs based on specific requests. We also add a number of tabs to the top here. And the first tab that we add that I'll show you is the schedule. So the schedule that we saw in the browser, we can update that schedule in the browser just like we did earlier when I made these assignments and chose to sync these tasks. We can also make those same updates here in Teams. And one of the things I'd like you to keep in mind as we walk through Teams is that you've got options. If you would like to update your project schedule in the browser or in Microsoft Project Professional, the desktop application, or Teams, you can update it in any one of those places. And because everything that you update and save, because it saves to that central Project Online database, you'll see those changes that you've made no matter where you open up your schedule. So those changes that we made in the browser, we're fully seeing those here. And then if we wanted to make additional edits, we could go ahead and edit our project and do everything that we would do in the browser typically. So sometimes I use this to just check on things while I'm in Teams and make sure that I actually publish the update that I was planning and things like that. But really, it kind of comes down to where you're more comfortable. If you're already in the browser doing something, you can go ahead and update your schedule there. But if you're already in Teams, it's quick and easy to view and edit the schedule here. And then the next three tabs, these are tabs that are familiar from the project site. So the first is Project Documents. And a few minutes ago, when we looked at the project site for this PO to Teams webinar project that we created together, I uploaded this quarterly financials document. So at the moment that I updated it in the browser or uploaded it in the browser, it became available here as well. And now here I can go ahead and open this in the application. I can collaborate with the team on updating this document and all the things that we would typically do. There was a question in the chat about whether we could have several projects be part of one team. And the answer to that is yes. One of the things that we do, we most typically have our clients ask us to create one team for each project. But for a fair amount of our clients, what they've asked us to do is create each project as a team underneath, or sorry, as a channel underneath the main team. So in that case, you could create, 5 or 6 teams or however many it needs to be. And then we would include a field where you choose which team the project should become a channel under. So in that way, it's possible to have the projects create as channels under a team. All right, so I just clicked on the Issues tab, and the issues that we saw in the browser are also available here. So the same way that we would update these issues in the browser, we can also do that here. So if I need to edit one of these and close it out, or maybe add somebody for this to be assigned to, I can make all of those edits here. Risk is going to be very similar. And then I want to make sure that we get a look at Planner because we've got a lot to talk about on this tab. The Planner tab is where we're going to see our individual tasks. So every task that I showed on the schedule earlier that I chose to assign and then chose to sync with Planner is going to show here. When we were looking at the schedule earlier and I was first choosing which tasks should sync with Teams and Planner, remember that I chose a Planner bucket. And those Planner buckets are what we see along the top here. So it's a way to have your tasks grouped. All right, and this is kind of a custom way that you can group these based on whatever you'd like. So if you'd like your buckets to be initiation, planning, executing, monitoring and controlling, and then closing, those could be your buckets. But this is all something that we would talk about during the requirements gathering phase. So this is our first view of things. We've got everything grouped by bucket. And then notice that there is a card that represents each task. These cards you can click on to expand, and then you can see more information about these. You can also interact with these and add, checklist items. You can start to go ahead and add in notes or comments if you need to. The other thing that we can do, and we'll look at that in a minute, is start to mark things as completed. Before we start that, though, I do want to show some of the other ways that you can group these tasks. So it's really helpful once you define buckets to be able to view these tasks grouped by bucket, but you can also group by assigned to. I only assigned to these tasks me, but typically you would see the different people that were assigned tasks that synced over with Planner, and then you could show, these tasks person by person. And that's great for meetings and things like that. You can walk through person by person and kind of update the tasks. Another great way to group these is by progress. So here, notice that there are 3 columns, not started, in progress, and completed. What I can do here is go ahead and just start to mark things or drag and drop things. All right, so I can say part 1 is completed, part 2 is completed, and the full task is completed. All right, and then as I start to make progress on some of these tasks, I can start to move them over. There are also filters. So if I want to filter based on what's late, what's due today, tomorrow, this week, I can start to do that. And then there are different views as well. So there's a list view. Some people prefer to see a list of all of their tasks instead of the cards. But even with the list view, you can click on this to see the full card. Every view that we've seen so far has this little circle here that you can click on to mark something as completed. So the board view was our default view. There's a charts view that has statistical information, but still has the cards visible here for you. And then there's a schedule view. So if you would like to see your tasks overlaid on top of a calendar, you can do that too. All right, so those are a couple of the views and a couple of different things that you can do here in Planner. So this is great because it makes it really easy for a member of a project team to come in and update their tasks. A lot of times, getting people to update tasks is a little bit difficult, but having this kind of interface in teams where people spend a lot of time already is usually pretty helpful. So what we're doing here is, combining Project Online, which is a very robust scheduling application and allows you to do so much when it comes to managing your project. We're combining that with Teams that allows you to do a lot with collaboration and working along with your project team. One of the other things that can make things a little bit easier for a team when it comes to updating tasks. So notice here, I've got my different teams here. Okay, and then, sorry, there's a question in the chat about when we mark something as completed here, if that carries over into the project plan. And the answer there is yes, we can loop back around to the project plan when we leave Teams, but as a team member or any part of this team that's assigned to tasks, as I mark these as completed, those updates will be included into the project schedule. So what we'll see when we go back to the schedule is that these are going to be marked as 100% complete. These will be marked as 50% complete. There's an overnight sync that brings those updates into the percent complete column, but then also there's a manual sync button. So if you need to bring that update into your schedule right away, we've added a little icon onto the project schedule that you can click on to do that. Before we go back over to the browser though, I did just want to show I guess one or two more ways that I use to update my tasks that are assigned to me from Planner. Okay, so this is the first way, right? There are individual teams here. Each team is going to have a Planner tab. So you could walk through your different teams and then make your task updates. What I like to do is use this tasks by Planner and to do here. I've already added it to my menu here because I use it so much, but using the more options menu here, task by planner and to do is usually one of the first options. All right, so using that, I added task by planner and to do to my menu. And what you'll see here is that there are several different levels of tasks, all right? Because there is Microsoft Planner, there's Microsoft To Do, and we have tasks that are assigned to us in different ways. So if we look at what's assigned to me, this is where below here I can see the different projects that have assignments for me. And if I look at the main content area of the screen, what I can see are the different tasks. Because we're in a demo environment and we use the same templates a lot, I prefer to use the template that I created today. So I have a lot of tasks with the same name. One of the things that really is important is this source column here. So here I can see actually the name of the project. So if you do a quick check here, M360 review, M360 review, all of these different names here reflect my project names, okay? Some of these are overdue, and then here are some from what we did today. So notice today I'm looking at all active, right? So I could also look at completed. I could also filter these a little bit, but this is a way to see the tasks that are assigned to me across all projects without going in one by one. And what's great about this is if you use Microsoft To Do or you have other tasks, you can also see those tasks here. All right, so it's everything in one place. And then I'm starting to run a little bit low on time, but I did want to show really quickly just a quick view of my inbox. So first, I'm getting some alerts because I've been added to some of these tasks. Planner tasks, these notifications are configurable at the user level. So we could go ahead and turn these off or adjust the frequency of these. I've chosen to leave these on for demo purposes. But the main thing I want to show you in Outlook, and this is one of the newer features. So I'm using the newer features based on this little slider here. But one of the things that you can do here is also view those assigned tasks. So this is yet another way that I can quickly and easily see those planner tasks that were assigned to me. So this list that we're seeing here matches what we just saw in Teams. But then what's also nice is that I can see all my to-do tasks. If I've marked anything that I need to take care of today, or that I've planned or completed, or my flagged emails, along with my tasks. So what this does is it opens it up to give you a lot more options, and then that makes it much easier to track tasks and also to stay on top of your task updates. I'm going to leave some time for questions because I saw some of them come in through the chat, but I'm not sure if I caught all of them or not. I did want to go back over to the browser. And there was a question earlier about the percent complete that we updated in Teams and Planner and how that shows in the project. So I just want to quickly show that icon that I referred to earlier. So I'm going to open up our project. All right, notice that the percent complete now is 0, right? So the overnight sync hasn't run, of course, and then I also haven't clicked on that manual sync button yet. So here we've added an icon. We have a couple of other icons we've added here based on some of our other integrations, but the Get Planner Updates is the one that will bring in those planner updates. Clicking this button kicks off a job that's going to run and check all of those progress updates and bring them into the schedule. Once you click this button, it does give you this message here that the job is beginning, and then it tells you to wait a few minutes and then refresh your page. It's usually not a full few minutes, but once you refresh, then you can see the percent complete show up for those tasks that were updated. So we have a few minutes left. Does anybody have any questions? Or were there any questions in the chat that I missed? So there's a question about the add an activity button. Which is that the add a new task button? I'm not sure if it is, but I'll go ahead and, yes. So there is for each one of these buckets, this option to add a new task. What we do, or what this will do is it'll keep this new task separated and living in Planner. And that's really a helpful thing because if we have a set of people on this team and they're adding new tasks, we don't necessarily want them to be able to add tasks into our schedule and affect our timeline. But if somebody needs to add a task to keep track of it here in Planner, you can add a new task using this option. And this task will live here in Planner, but not come into the schedule. So that way the PM has the safety and the security of knowing that they're in complete control of their schedule and they don't have to worry about added tasks being having an effect on their scheduled dates. But it also allows us to still add new tasks and keep track of them here. Sometimes we might have an action item or something like that that we don't necessarily want in the schedule, but we can track the progress here. All right. Well, we just had time. I can stay around for a little bit in case anybody has any questions, but I do want to thank you all for your time today.
Thanks so much, Mia, and thank you everyone for attending our webinar. I did put a survey into the chat. If you all could fill that out, that would be awesome. It just lets us know how we're doing with our webinars. Make sure they're relevant for you guys. And if there's anything else, please feel free to reach out to us.
Have a great day, everybody.
Thanks.
Thank you.